Welcome back, everybody. In this video, I want to demonstrate one of the many uses of a graphic EQ pedal. In this case, we're going to have a look at how to use a graphic EQ pedal with a high gain sound to either use it as a pre-boost in front of your amp to really tighten up the feel of your amplifier and also add some gain, or in your amp's effects loop to really change the character and the overall tone of your amp. Is it best to use a graphic EQ before or after the main gain stages in your amp? And the answer is that it's markedly different. So what we're going to hear first, I've got this Boss EQ20 in front of my amp, and I'm going to play a loop through it. I will engage it, and I'm just going to move each slider up and down so you can have a listen to the overall effect on the tone, and hopefully it will give you guys an idea of why I like to boost amps with a graphic EQ the way I do. So let's hear the riff, and then let's do some EQing. This is pre-gain. So that's pretty interesting, right? You can see that basically everything over about 2K, you can't really hear because there's already so much gain going on with that guitar sound, but it really is that spot from about 400 or 500 hertz to about 1.5, 1.6K that really makes a difference on the overall sound of what is going into your amp and what is happening. So if you think about it, your amp is seeing a vastly different EQ profile depending on what you're boosting. So if you're really pushing the mids in there and pulling out a lot of low end, it's going to change the character of the distortion. If you're pushing lots and lots of low end into your amp and distorting it, it is going to really accentuate the fact that there's a lot of low end. It's flubby, it's boomy, all those kind of things we think about. Whereas really pushing the mid-range in there kind of sounds sweet. You can hear that a couple of settings almost sounded like I had a wah pedal on, and that is a great way to push your guitar sound and just tighten it up a little bit, sculpt it. It also changes the feel a lot when you're playing. It really makes you want to dig in. So that is how I would use an EQ pedal in front of a high gain amp. Let's hear it in the effects loop now. Okay, I've done some recabling now. The advanced EQ is in the effects loop. Let's have a listen to the same little experiment. I'll just move each slider, and you'll notice that you will hear a far more pronounced effect. Like I only have to move the sliders a little bit for it really to change the tone. So let's go. As you can hear there, very different effect. There's some drastic changes made, especially in the high end. When we heard this pre-gain, The high-end sliders didn't really do that much with a high gain sound, but here they are really bringing the fizz or smoothing things out. Same thing with the low-end controls. They really add a lot of rumble. If I was using a graphic EQ in an amps effects loop, especially with high gain, I try to treat it like a far more surgical tool where, in this case, pulling out a little bit of 250 and a little bit of 400 almost universally works on any guitar sound. It kind of gets rid of some of that muck in the low mids, and also boosting like around 2K somewhere in there can really lift your guitar out of a mix. And I might do something like that and lift the overall level by 2 to 3 dB and use that as my solo boost to kick me over the edge. So I'm not only giving myself more level, I'm also pushing the mid-range, which is really going to help my guitar sound pop out in a mix. So there you go. That was a great question. I forget who asked it. Make yourself known in the comments if you ask me that question. And that, as you can hear, is the difference between pre-EQ and post-EQ, depending on whether you put your graphic EQ before gain or after gain. Massively different. I've said massively different a lot in this video, but I really can't stress it enough. Where you put your EQ matters, and a lot of modern high gain amplifiers will often have a stage of gain and then some kind of tone shaping section and then another stage of gain and some more tone shaping, that kind of cascading effect to really shape the sound rapidly. And you can hear there that we've got this kind of like fizzy, flubby, Mesa style sound. Pre-boosting it really tightened it up, and pushing the mid-range in post, so having it in the effects loop after the main gain stages really kind of made it sound a bit more martially and mid-rangey if we pushed those elements of it. So there you go. Any other questions, let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. I hope it was useful. I will see you next time.